Today, our topic of discussion is multimedia authoring tools. We have started the same topic in previous session and we are going to continue with the same. We'll be discussing multimedia authoring tools in this session. In previous session, we have discussed about what actually authoring tools are, authoring system is what, and then we have discussed few authoring paradigms, multimedia authoring paradigms. And also, we have discussed icon based authoring. So, we have some software, some tools which are providing us with icon based authoring. And today, in this session, we are going to discuss for scripting for multimedia. So, let's start with our discussion with scripting for multimedia. Sometimes script may also be referred to as storyboard. Script is what? It is. It may be a set of instructions. It may be a sequence of modules, procedures, or maybe a sequence of story. So any kind of instructions, any kind of maybe it is a code written in computerized language, any specific language. It can be a code, a set of instruction, sequence of procedures that is helping us to edit or to modify or to prepare our multimedia files. So कोई भी ऐसे स्क्रिप्ट, कोई भी ऐसे इंस्ट्रक्शंस जिनको फॉलो करते हुए हम हमारी मल्टीमीडिया फाइल बना सकें, उसको एडिट कर सकें, मॉडिफाई कर सकें, so that will be considered as your script. So sometimes script may also be termed as storyboard. So basically, a script is what? It is the basic building block of multimedia courseware development. So जब भी हमें multimedia फाइल बनानी है, कोई भी multimedia प्रोजेक्ट पे काम करना है, so it provides us with certain inbuilt blocks, certain inbuilt tools और procedures जिनको हमें include करना फाइल में और हम एडिट कर सकते हैं या जनरेट कर सकते हैं, डेवलप कर सकते हैं टोटली फुल फ्लैश मल्टीमीडिया फाइल और प्रोजेक्ट. So the storyboard is a sequence of simply drawn pictures that visually depict a program. In preparing interactive multimedia, normally the script is the storyboard. As such, both the terms script and storyboard are used in interchangeably, so they have their differences. In spite of various similarities, script and storyboard are two different things. So, where the difference lies? The difference here is being that a script can also be written without visual at all. So, script can be a pure coding, pure instructions. कोई भी इंस्ट्रक्शंस हैं किसी भी लैंग्वेज में है, इधर कंप्यूटराइज्ड लैंग्वेज और इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज, दैट कैन बी considered as your script. इसमें किसी भी तरह के visuals नहीं होंगे. But whereas if we talk about storyboard, storyboard is always a visually illustrated script जिसमें visuals होंगे, कुछ graphics, कुछ animations हो सकते हैं along with script, along with text, just to visualize, just to elaborate the script. So under this discussion, we will describe a process for developing visual script or storyboard for multimedia, and the script in practice become the blueprint for action. So script में हमें actually एक idea हो जाता है कि हमने क्या क्या करना है, उसमें सारी instructions होती हैं. Let's say अगर हम मूवी की स्क्रिप्ट की भी बात करें, उसमें स्क्रिप्ट में एक ओवरऑल प्लान होता है कि क्या कैरेक्टर्स हैं, क्या स्टोरी है, कब कौन सा सीन है, किस सीक्वेंस में क्या होने वाला है. सो दैट ऑल विल बी formulated in one script and which will ultimately be the blueprint for that action. Next, How we can prepare these multimedia scripts. So, when we are talking about preparation of multimedia script, it is basically a process. Preparation of multimedia script is a process of visual thinking or visualization. So, when we are thinking about something, when we are thinking about sequence of procedures, so formulating those sequence into one document, that will be considered as your script. So हम अपने दिमाग में सोच रहे हैं, हम प्लान आउट कर रहे हैं कि ये चीज है वो किस तरह होगी। अगर मूवी स्क्रिप्ट की बात करें, उसमें कौन सा सीन कब आएगा, किस सीक्वेंस में कैसे स्टोरी चलेगी, कौन कौन से कैरेक्टर्स होंगे, ये सब हम सोच रहे हैं, हम विजुलाइज कर रहे हैं। तो उसी विजुलाइजेशन को एक डॉक्यूमेंट में फ्रेम करना, दैट इज टर्म्ड एज योर मल्टीमीडिया स्क्रिप्ट। अब ये जो मल्टीमीडिया स्क्रिप्ट है, ये कैसे जनरेट हो सकती है? The process of visualization is basically section, creation, and editing of images into meaningful sequences. In reality, it takes a lot of practice to see the program to be developed successfully. So, when we are visualizing or we are having visual thinking, so script writing process may include 6 steps. So, it can the thing visual thinking can be incorporated with 6 steps of script writing process. The first one is program idea, then we have program brief, then is research, then identity and select content elements, interface design and layout, and preparing the storyboard. So when we are planning and carrying out a thorough research on the topic of program idea and the target audience, it will be useful in designing the multimedia. All we have to do here is we have to research कि क्या एक्चुअली हमारी स्टोरी है, उसके रिलेटेड अगर कोई स्टोरी है हम उसको स्टडी कर सकते हैं। उस पर्टिकुलर प्रोजेक्ट पे जिस पे हम काम कर रहे हैं उसके मॉड्यूल्स हम स्टडी कर सकते हैं। और टारगेट यूजर्स क्या होंगे, उसके एंड ऑडियंस क्या होंगी, जो भी आप वीडियो बना रहे हो या मल्टीमीडिया प्रोजेक्ट बना रहे हो, अल्टीमेटली उसको कौन यूज करने वाला है, कौन देखने वाला है। तो उनके इंटरेस्ट एरियाज क्या हैं, उन चीज़ों को स्टडी कर सकते हैं हम while we are planning and while we are having program idea. So identifying relative graphic content and experts on the program will be useful to consult and select appropriate content. Having done the research, it is appropriate to develop the best way or sequence to deliver the message. So sequencing is also important and we have to analyze that. And though multimedia provides the user with hypermedia navigation opportunity, it is important to have default sequence. The content elements can be visualized in terms of text, audio, video, graphics, animations, etc. So we have to have idea of all these while we are scripting our script. Then we have to design the interface. The interface design is one of the most creative stage of scripting for multimedia. Here the look and feel of the program needs to be decided. हमारा कोई भी प्रोग्राम है वो कैसे दिखेगा, अगर हम किसी एडवर्टीजमेंट पे भी काम कर रहे हैं, वो किस तरह से दिखाई देगी, उसको हमने कहाँ से स्टार्ट करना है, क्या क्या चीज़ें उसमें हाईलाइट करनी है, कहाँ टेक्स्ट देना है, क्या टेक्स्ट देना है, और अल्टीमेटली क्या ऑडियंस है जो उस एड फिल्म को, एडवर्टीजमेंट को देखने वाली है, और उनके इंटरेस्ट एरियाज क्या होंगे, मे बी द क्वालिटी, मे बी द फीचर्स ऑफ द प्रोडक्ट और द प्राइस ऑफ द प्रोडक्ट, heavy discount over the product. सो जो भी चीज़ें हैं हम हाईलाइट करने वाले हैं वो किस तरह हाईलाइट होंगी, किस सीक्वेंस में हाईलाइट होंगी, वी हैव टू वर्क ऑन ऑल दीज क्राइटेरिया. So while deciding on this, it is important to keep in mind the target audience choice and the nature of the topic. The storyboard is detailed sort by sort or a screen by screen description of program on a sheet of paper or card. So before actually working over multimedia project with advertisement, we first script the things. हमें एक पेपर पे पहले स्टोरी लाइन जॉब डाउन कर लेनी चाहिए कि क्या स्टोरी रहेगी. सो उसमें क्या-क्या टेक्स्ट होगा, क्या-क्या चीज़ें हम विजुअलाइज़ करेंगे. सो ये चीज़ें हमें पहले पेपर पे प्लान आउट करनी चाहिए बिफोर गेटिंग इनटू द रियल development thing of multimedia. So it is also a blueprint for section or all the actions that can be given to a multimedia designer to execute it as depicted in the storyboard. So it allows working of different groups of people in the same project, developing different components of it with similar design and compatibility. So this is how we can work with scripts and storyboard. So as we have also mentioned here, there is a huge difference between script and storyboard. So what is the actual difference? The script can be visualized or cannot be visualized. It is not mandatory to be visualized. उसमें किसी भी तरह के विजुअल्स होना जरूरी नहीं है, हो भी सकते हैं, नहीं भी हो सकते हैं. So that will be termed as your script. But when we are talking about storyboard, storyboard must have the visuals also. So all the stories, all the scripting thing can be portrayed, can be generated by using the visuals. हमें उसके videos साथ में embed करने होते हैं. So this is how we work with scripts. Next we have is storyboarding. So what actually storyboarding is? So what is the storyboarding? When we are talking about multimedia stories, a multimedia story is a combination of text, still graphics, video clips, audios, graphics, interactivity that is presented on website in a non-linear format in which the information in each medium is complementary and non-redundant. So when we are talking about storyboard, a storyboard is a graphic organizer. We have a software for storyboard or it is a filmmaking software in which it helps us to organize our graphics. जो भी हमारे visuals हैं, graphics हैं, उनको organize किया जाता है sequence में, उनको edit कर सकते हैं. So these organizers consist of illustrations or images displayed in sequence for purpose of pre-visualizing a motion picture, animation, motion graphics, or interactive media in a sequence. The storyboarding process in the form it is known today was developed at Walt Disney Productions during early 1930s and after several years of similar processes being in use at Walt Disney and other animation studios, now the progress has been done these days till what we are visualizing nowadays. So storyboard was originated by Walt Disney and it has been progressed so well that we have developed in almost uh, every domain of storyboard, as in if we are talking about motion pictures, videos, graphics, all have been enhanced so well till now. So next we are having, so where we can actually use multimedia or multimedia storyboards. So there are certain domains under which multimedia storyboards are really impactful and are been used from very longer period. So firstly, we are using these storyboards in films. A film storyboard, sometimes referred to as a shooting board also, is essentially a series of frames with drawing of the sequence of events in a film. So similar to a comic book of the film or some sections of the film products before ahead, it helps film directors, cinematographers, and television commercial advertising clients visualize the scene and find potential problems before they occur. So whenever they are visualizing, when they are shooting for something, they can actually visualize the whole scenario before actually launching it to their audience, and they can make certain changes, and they may also change the sequences. They may highlight the facts, include the text. So such kind of features are also embedded along with these film storyboards. So they are also helping us in increasing the productivity. So besides editing or visualizing the things, storyboard also helps to estimate the cost of the overall production, and it also saves lot of time. Apart from this, uh, the storyboard can be used in theater. A common misconception is that storyboards are not used in theater, but they do. Directors and playwrights frequently use storyboard as special tool to understand the layout of the scene. So when we are even working over theaters, we have a script. So there are certain tools that are provided by स्टोरी बोर्ड्स. इस तरह के टूल्स जो है स्टोरी बोर्ड देता है कि जिससे हमें पूरा का पूरा सीन का सीक्वेंस जो है विजुअलाइज करने में हेल्प होती है. तो एक्चुअली जब हम थिएटर एक्टिंग कर रहे हैं, फिजिकली कर रहे हैं, उससे पहले ही हम सीन को विजुअलाइज कर सकते हैं और उसमें चेंजेस कर सकते हैं एज एंड व्हेन रिक्वायर्ड. So this way they are being incorporated with theaters also, and in theaters they can be used in animatics. So in animation and special effect work, the storyboarding stage may be followed by simplified mock-up called animatics to give a better idea to have a scene, how the scene will look like and how it feels, how the motions and time, what are the timings of that sequence, they all can be visualized and analyzed before actually we are going over the theater dramas. So at its simplest, an animatic is a sequence of still images displayed in sequence with rough dialogues or rough soundtracks. So, essentially, providing a simplified overview of how various visuals and auditory elements will work. सो इसमें हम एक्चुअली डायलॉग्स नहीं दे रहे हैं. इसमें हो सकता है साउंड ट्रैक्स भी एक्चुअल नहीं है या हम सिमिलर वंस यूज कर सकते हैं. बट द प्लान इज हियर कि हम पहले ही विजुलाइज कर लें कि एक पर्टिकुलर सीक्वेंस है. थिएटर में जब उसको परफॉर्म किया जाएगा तो उसमें कितना टाइम लगेगा, कौन सा कैरेक्टर कहाँ खड़ा होना चाहिए, किस तरह के इफेक्ट्स होने चाहिए, और क्या चेंजेस रिक्वायर्ड है, ये सब हम एनालाइज कर सकते हैं इफ वी आर यूजिंग these storyboards. So this allows the animators and directors to work out any screenplay, camera positioning, shot list, and timing issues that may exist with the current storyboard. So storyboard and soundtrack are embedded if necessary, and a new animatic may be created and reviewed by the production staff until the storyboard is finalized. So this way they can be helpful and they can help us to improve the sequence or edit the particular sequence as and when required. So the animatics are also used by advertising agencies to create inexpensive test commercials. तो आप जो भी एडवर्टीजमेंट्स देखते हैं टेलीविजन पे या फिजिकली भी, सो उन सिनेरियोज में एनिमेटिक्स हम यूज करते हैं. A variation, the reformatic is made from sequence of existing movies. We can repeat the sequence of movies here by using animatics, television programs or commercials to simulate the look and feel of proposed commercials. So, rip in this scene refers to ripping off an original work to create a न्यू थिंग. सो इस तरह से हम प्लान आउट कर सकते हैं नई एडवर्टीजमेंट्स को भी. देन दे कैन बी यूज्ड इन थिएटर्स अंडर photomatics. So a photomatic probably derived from animatic or photo animatic. It is a series of still photographs edited together and represented on a screen in a sequence. So sound effects, voice overs, and soundtracks are added to a piece to show how a film could be shot or cut together. So this way we can plan the sequence of still photographs. So photomatic is basically about still photographs. उसी में ही हम साउंड ट्रैक्स इंक्लूड कर रहे हैं, साउंड इफेक्ट्स यूज कर रहे हैं, पोजिशनिंग सीक्वेंसिंग इन एनालाइज कर रहे हैं just to portray it in a good impact. So increasingly used by advertisers or advertising agencies to research the effectiveness of these proposed storyboards before committing to a full up television advertisement. So this way they are helpful, and photomatic is usually a research tool similar to animatic, and in that it represents the work at a test audience so that the uh, commissionaries of the work can guide its effectiveness. तो जो भी उसकी authorities हैं, जो भी plan कर रहे हैं, directors, choreographers, so they all can plan, they all can visualize what actually they are going to develop for the audience. So next, the storyboarding can also be used in comic books. So how they are useful in comic books? Like sometimes writer have used storyboard type drawings for their scripting of comic books. तो जब भी आप हो सकता है राइटर ने जब भी कॉमिक बुक डिजाइन करनी है, अब कॉमिक बुक में क्या होता है, कॉमिक बुक्स में स्टोरीज ही होती हैं अबाउट कार्टून कैरेक्टर्स, उसके इमेजेस भी दी होती हैं. तो किस सीक्वेंस में वो स्टोरी चलेगी, कहाँ से स्टार्ट होगी, कौन कौन से सीन्स होंगे, कैसे उसको कंक्लूड किया जाएगा, सो ऑल दैट कैन बी प्लान्ड बाय द राइटर. So for that we have to use a storyboard, which is a storyboard type drawings. So often I then here indicating staging of figures, backgrounds, and balloon placement, which with all the instructions to the artist as needed, often scribble on the margins. So dialogues or captions indicated here should be planned. So for all these plannings and analysis, the writer can make use of storyboards in comic books. Apart from this, uh, they can be used in business. So storyboards used for planning advertisement companions. So बहुत सारे ऐसे कॉर्पोरेट्स हैं, ऐसी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है जिनको अपने कॉमर्शियल्स प्लान करने होते हैं, अपनी एडवर्टीजमेंट्स प्लान करनी होती हैं, तो वहाँ पे भी हम स्टोरी बोर्ड्स यूज कर सकते हैं, such as corporate video productions. We have to plan the presentations, commercial, a proposal, or other business presentation intended to convince or compel to action, as known as presentation boards. So in this way, they can be used under businesses. Apart from this, they can be used for architecture studios. Occasionally, architecture studios need storyboard artists to visualize presentation of their projects. So, architectures में presentations ही show करनी होती है, either to the bosses or the authorities or the clients. So जो भी उन्होंने plan out किया है, they can visualize all those things to their customers by using the architecture studios. And apart from these, they can be used in novels. Storyboards are now becoming more popular with novels and the novelist, because most novels write their stories by scenes rather than chapters. So storyboard are useful for plotting the story in sequence of events and rearranging the scenes accordingly. So this way they are most popular in novels also. And apart from this, they can be used in interactive medias. So interactive medias, as we have web development, software development, instruction designs, so here we have to present and describe certain things. So in those also the storyboard can be used, and in softwares also we can make use of storyboards, as we have to identify the specifications for particular set of software, and for that we can have interactions with user, we can generate a presentation and concern, and also coordinate with development team for developing the software. So for that we have to have effective presentation, in that also we can use. And in scientific researches also storyboards can be used. So an informative is usually presented with simplified graphic descriptions of situation or story, and asked to describe the depicted situation. So for that, this way they can be used here in scientific researches. And apart from this, we have certain benefits of storyboards. The one advantage of using storyboard is that it allows the user to experiment with changes in the storyline. To invoke, कभी भी हम change कर सकते हैं, sequencing change कर सकते हैं. So this way they can be used. And the another benefit of using storyboard is uh, the production can plan the movie in advance. So जो भी फिल्म्स या एडवर्टीजमेंट प्लान आउट करनी है, उनको हम पहले ही प्लान कर सकते हैं. एक्चुअली उनको विजुअलाइज या डेवलप करने के बाद उनमें चेंजेस करने की जरूरत नहीं है. तो हम उनको पहले ही प्लान आउट कर सकते हैं, जो भी चेंजेस करने हैं इनिशियल स्टेजेस पे करके, देन वी कैन डेवलप एंड implement those plans. So the process of visual thinking and planning allow a group of people to brainstorm together, placing their ideas on storyboards and then arranging the storyboards on the wall. So this foster more ideas and generates conscious inside the groups. So this way we can use the storyboards, and there are the various benefits of using storyboards. So this is all for today's discussion. And if anyone is having any kind of doubt, may ask the queries. So in this session, we have discussed about scripting, and then we have discussed about storyboards along with their various uses and benefits. So you may ask the questions now.